Assalamu alaikum. Suleiman Rahim here. Welcome. Brothers and sisters, the dumb barrier. We want to discuss the subject of the Christ and Antichrist, the master gear. We've been talking about energy deprivation that we've been going through for the last 50,000 years. That was officially over in 1948. Why do I say that? Because under energy deprivation, we was at negative. Right? And by the time of 1948, we came to zero. See? Approaching positive. So it was on the negative side of zero. In 1948, end of energy deprivation, enough energy for ourselves, not enough for anything else. But had enough energy to maintain ourselves. That means we're zero. Because before we didn't have enough energy to maintain ourselves doing energy deprivation. So in 1948, we had enough energy at that point to maintain ourselves. Nothing else. Not a civilization, not anything else, just to maintain our personal selves. So we was at zero. Zero energy deprivation. See? Moving towards positive. So when you're at zero, if you produce a 10, then you have to produce a negative 10 to balance that zero. And that's what the scripture tells us about the Antichrist. That's the math. As I've been telling you, brothers and sisters, those books are mathematical books. And the Antichrist will be a sign that we were at zero. That will be the sign where the Messiah will be conceived, because it says a star will rise in the east to herald his existence, his conception. See? Because he would be the Messiah, so he would not be a Messiah if we were still at negative, because what could he deliver us from? We're at zero. We're at negative. So at zero, now we can move positive. So that's when the Messiah would be conceived at that point, because now he can move us forward. Since we're at zero, we're moving to positive direction. And so that's why it's the Antichrist, because if you're at zero, and like I said, if you're at 10, a negative 10 would correspond to that when you're at zero. So that's why when he was conceived, the Antichrist also be conceived. That would be his counterbalance. And everything they do would be to neutralize everything he does at that point. But now he's going positive. As he goes positive, they go negative. Because now he's going in a positive direction. That's why I call him the Antichrist. They're talking about false Israel. They were both established at the same time. That's the balance. See, I never talked about this before, but that's the mathematics of it. That's why it's the Antichrist. Because the only time you have Antichrist, right, when you're at the point of zero, the counterbalance, the Christ. See, that occurred in 1948. Okay, so at that point, you got two wills. You got the Antichrist will, right? When I say will, W-I-L-L, your personal, your will. And you got the Christ will. See, two gears, one moving in one direction and one moving in the opposite direction, countering each other. See, they're master gears. You have two master gears, a positive one, a negative one. The Antichrist and the Christ, two master gears, moving opposite directions, forcing their will on the world. See, so at that point in time, false Israel was established, and that's been the master gear that's been moving the world since 1948. By motivating the world is under the control, the guidance of false Israel called Satan. It says this: Satan is God this world. They control this affair. See? And they're counterbalanced to the Christ because everything they do by nature neutralizes everything he does. But he's moving in a positive direction. So you got the two. So they're going to oppose his moving in a positive direction while he's opposing their movement in a negative direction. So they got the clash of the two wills. The clash of the two wills. So that's what we're going to discuss here. The master gear, Antichrist. See, two master gears. One the Antichrist and the Christ. See, the two wheels, two gear. One gear moving in one direction, and the other gear moving in the opposite direction. See, and one moving towards what you see on the right, that's the master gear, that Christ, moving towards a perfect biological creation, right? And the one on the left, that's the Antichrist, moving in a perfect mechanical, electronic reality. That's what they're moving towards. They have two different ideas. And you see it playing, because what they tell you, climate change, right? What's all the words, names they call it, right? So they're telling you the environment is in trouble. So it's like they're telling you right now, that's the problem they're having right now. That's the problem they're having right now. You understand? Because they're telling you climate change and all this stuff. They said the whole ecological system is in danger, that we could lose it. And they're talking about war that will destroy the biological system. They're talking about building robots and all that kind of stuff. You're too visionary. Are you not paying attention? Hold on for a second, brothers and sisters. Make a little small change here. Okay, that'll work. Okay, do you not see the conflict, the two directions the world's going into? They say the environment is under fire. See, the weather is out of control. See, it could be, we have total environmental destruction that we won't be able to recover from. All at the same time, talking about a nuclear war that would destroy it. You have those two dangers that's going in the world today. Telling you there are two dangers that's going on in the world today. The two major dangers right now. The so-called environment, climate control, and so forth and so on. See? Biological, mechanical, electronic. Keep that in mind, brothers and sisters. Let's move on. Two visions. So this is gears. We all connected. All our minds and body, we're not conscious of it, but we're all connected. We're all connected. See? Because if you say something, right, to someone else, you affected them. You affect their thought pattern. And that's going to affect the way they speak to someone else. If you say, no matter what you say to a person, it's going to affect their thought pattern to some degree, more or less. And they may not realize it, but because when you said something, that means you affected the way they was thinking at that particular time. That means that has a consequence on the way they're going to think when they talk to someone else. It's going to have an impact. It may be a major impact or minor impact, but it's still going to impact because you changed their thought pattern, their vibration, their thought vibrations, their heart vibrations to some degree when you communicated with them. See? And so that's going to affect the tone or a 10 or whatever, when they reach talk to someone else. And so, and that's going to pass to the next person. And in fact, it's affecting the entire planet. You may not realize that, but that's exactly what's happening. Think about it. See? And if you don't say anything, your heart vibrations, all our hearts are connected. See? I talked about that in another presentation. We're not going to talk about it, but I'm just trying to get you to see that we're all connected. See? But we got two different visions. See? Dr. Yakub created a being that was opposed to us, an open enemy, contrary. So they're trying to force all of the ideas going to one direction, right? And Dr. Shabazz, right? His tribe is forcing the world going another direction. So you got the clash, the opposing visions, opposing vibrations, opposing wavelengths, total opposition to each other. See? And only one can survive. Because they both can. That means if you have two gear train, and if not all the gears not going in sync with the major master gear, then it's either opposing the master gear. Well, if it's not going, it is opposing it. So it's either going to change the direction of the master gear, or it's going to be crushed by the master gear, or the master gear would, or it would drive the master gear to a stop. In other words, it just stop the whole process. And that's what moving just lock the gears up. So it would either cause the master gear to change direction, right? Or the master gear would crush it, or it would be a stalemate. Neither one will move. Those are only possibilities. So that's what's happening. We have the Antichrist and the Christ. See? So at that 1948, that was at the time that the Antichrist would come on the scene, right? He's brought into existence because he's the anti of the Christ, because both was conceived at the same time, 1948. See? Because they came as a result of the Christ. If the Christ had not came into existence, they would not have come into existence, because they're the counter. If it's zero, if you produce a 100, then you got to produce a negative 100. The negative 100 comes into existence. The negative 100 didn't produce the 100. You had to have a positive to produce the negative. So as a result of the end of the Christ coming to existence, right, he forced the Antichrist into existence. He forced the mentality and everything in the world to bring that into existence. And then you can measure the power by how strong or powerful the anti is. Because if you're a positive 100, the anti is going to be a positive 100. If you're positive 1,000, anti be positive 1,000. So we see the Antichrist, right? A whole country, millions of people. Well, that tells you how powerful the Christ is, because that's how much it took to balance out, right? So if it's like 1 million people, just in general metric, that means he's as powerful as 1 million people. If it took 1 million people, right, that is his anti. So that means he's 1 million, so he produced 1 million as anti. That's a general term, but I want you to hold on to that, understand that. Let's move on. So remember, the universe is contracting, we're going in a positive direction. That means the Christ is getting stronger and the Christ is getting weaker. But you got two master gears opposing each other. See? If the universe was expanding at this point, that would be the opposite. The Antichrist would be getting stronger while the Christ would be getting weaker. But it's just the opposite. So he would be conceived and he'd get stronger and stronger and stronger. Because he'd get stronger and stronger and stronger. See? His ideas and everything gets stronger and stronger and stronger because he's growing more positive direction. See? So his ideas will have greater effect on the world than the Antichrist ideas. See? So I'm not going into the actual history here, but at the point, it says at one point, right, he becomes so strong that he'll be able to break the 7 seals. See? So he was already affecting the world before that, but when he breaks the 7 seals, that means he's very strong then. He's very strong now. That shows how strong he's become. He can break the 7 seals. That means his ideas are becoming stronger and stronger in the world, right? Against the Antichrist's ideas. See? And so he started affecting other people more. He's been affecting people all his life. See? Because on the path that was leading to breaking the 7 seals. But he had to get stronger. It's like, if you're going to try to lift 1,000 pounds, first you got to lift 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 300 pounds. So he was lifting things like, finding Elijah Muhammad, assisting Elijah Muhammad, learning everything Elijah Muhammad taught. See? That's still going in that direction, getting stronger and stronger and stronger until he gets to the point, right, where he breaks the 7 seals. So he gets stronger and stronger and stronger, right? And he motivating people more and more and more. So more and more people started to think like him. Getting stronger and stronger and stronger. But what's happening to the Antichrist? They're getting more and more conflict. They're getting weaker because they have more stress. There's more trouble over in their in their sphere. See, over in the Middle East, they're under more and more stress, more duress. See, more conflict because they're getting weaker. Because as the master gear gets stronger, the positive master gear, right? See, the gears heat up. The gears heat up. See, and so the weaker master gear start getting real hot. See, and it's getting harder and harder to resist. See, and the stress is building up on it. See, the stress building up on the master gear to the Christ gear, right? But his is getting stronger and stronger and stronger while the Antichrist, right, is getting weaker and weaker and weaker to the point it gets crushed. Once it gets crushed, right, then there's no opposing gear. There's no opposing gear to the master gear. So then it start moving the whole world in that direction, towards the direction of the master gear, the Christ gear. So the forces of the anti-gear, since that master gear is broken, see, they will show the only option they have, rather than be immediately crushed, they have to try to attack the Christ gear quickly. Because if they don't, then they're crushed because they don't have the anti-master gear, the power that to motivate them anymore. They don't have that gear. Don't have. He's gone. He's destroyed. So they have nothing to keep them going that direction. So the only way they can stop being crushed, because their whole society. Because remember, they were on the side of the Antichrist. They was moving his direction. So now they're gonna be forced to go in the opposite direction because they don't have the anti-master gear, right? Inspiring them in the negative direction. They don't have the force of it. It's gone. It's broken. So the only way they can avoid going into the direction of the Christ gear, which they don't want, and they don't have the force of the anti-gear behind them anymore. The only thing they can do to avoid being forced to go into the Christ gear, which is against their nature, is to destroy the Christ gear immediately. Destroy it immediately, if they can. Otherwise, if they don't, then they're crushed if they continue to resist going into the Christ direction. Hope you understand that, brothers and sisters. See, it's all mathematics. See, as I told you, be closer and closer and closer. I make it clearer and clearer and clearer to you. See, it's gear train, 2 gears, 2 master gears. See, at that point, 1948 signaled the end of our energy deprivation. because we're at zero. That's why I call it Antichrist. It's all mathematics. Because you only have an anti when you're at zero. See? 10, negative 10, still equals 0. 100, negative 100, still equals 0. See? So in 1948, Suleiman had no power because false Israel neutralized all his power because they were claiming that they're the one, they're the seed of Abraham. So they had no power, he had no power, it was neutralized. See? I mean, they was neutralizing his power, put it that away. See? So he had no power because they was neutralizing any power that he had. See? But then he starts growing. And then they start becoming under stress, trying to resist his growth. Because that's their whole nature, is to resist his growth. That's the story about Herod. He says, we got to find this child and kill him because he's a danger to our whole system. He's the Messiah. And so they went after him, all in, to try to find him and to kill him. See? And so that's where we are right now. Because the anti-master gear is in trouble. See? Because the master gear, the angel, the seven seals been broken, and that shows the power. The Christ master gear is so powerful that it's very difficult for the anti-master gear to resist it. It's struggling. It's very hard, difficult. And so they know the only thing they have to do is go to war. They got to attack it. They keep their ideas going because they're the master gear or the negative. Satan is a God as well. They're the anti-master gear that's keeping this false vision, this false reality going. And now it's crumbling under the force of the seven seals, ignited by the Christ master gear. So you got the Christ against the Antichrist, two opposing. And we get more and more positive. That means we're getting stronger, 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 and they're becoming ever, ever weak. Because the energy is on our side now. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. See? That's what it's all about. So, the anti-master gear is about to be crushed. See? Every time you go and talk and you talk the angel, right? Then you add more force to the master gears, the Antichrist master gears, right? Gear train. You put more and more force, more and more stress upon the anti-master gear. And so now he's about to be crushed. See? And once he's crushed, there's no anti-master gear to keep this false reality going. It's just those that he had going in the wrong direction, they still exist. And they either have to change the direction and go in the direction of the Christ master gear, or try in a futile way to try to destroy, right, the Christ master gear. That's the only way they can avoid being forced to go in a direction that's against their nature. See? Or be crushed. That's what's about to happen. And that is what's happening. That's what's about to happen. That's explained in another way, in a mathematical way, in the form of gears, because that's the way the world works. We're all connected. It's a gear train. There's two opposing gears. Hope you understand that way, brothers and sisters. Okay. So, let's see what we have here. Okay, I want to say one thing about this. I'm going to give an analogy here. Say you build a house. It takes energy to build a house, right? Mansion. And you got to put the electricity in, plumbing, and the rooms and the foundation, all that stuff, roof, windows, floors, right? So it takes a lot of technology to do that, right? A lot of engineering and so forth, architecture. So you build a house with all the energy. So it takes, we use a sense of money, right? Say, I like, because money is illusion, but I'm gonna use money in this case. So say $1 million worth of engineering, architecture, and all that kind of stuff. That's what it took to put the house together, right? Okay, so now someone comes and buy that house and they paid $1 million for it, but they had a house, but they don't have all that knowledge and stuff that went in behind it. But they got that. Now we're going to talk about this sense of balance again. Now say your balance is $100,000. Everybody gets $100,000 a year, right? $100,000. So you go and take this $1 million house now. Now this other person, remember, they took all the energy to build that. So they took all the energy to build that house, right? So they got, they spent like $100,000 a year, right? So it took 10 years to build it. So they put all their energy into building this house. It took them 10 years because it's $1 million house, right? They get $100,000 a year. So they build it, right? So that's how you use their energy. So they had no negative energy because they took $1 million and they built it, right? So they got $1 million worth of positive energy there that they built. Took 10 years to do it, focusing on the energy. So that's how they focus their energy, right? So over 10 years, they got the house. So now you buy the house. So now you got $1 million instantly, but you only get $100,000 a year. So now you got $900,000 worth of negative energy. If you use that whole $1 million, $100,000 you got that year, then you got $100,000 worth, $9,000. You got $900,000 worth of negative energy, because that's more than what you're supposed to get your balance. So now you got that big weight on you. See? And it's going to take you 10 years to pay it off. That's that mortgage, right? So the next year, right, you pay $100,000. You pay all your money. So now you only got $800,000 worth of negative energy. Next year, $700,000. You only got $700,000. So until you pay it off. But actually, that's the way nature works. That's not the way they work, but they got all things all messed up. That's the way nature works. See? So you understand that? So now you got the house, but you don't have no technical ability and all that stuff in it either. You don't have all that stuff. Well, you just got the house. You got it, but you don't, all the knowledge and stuff that went in, you don't have that. You can't build a house. You just got it. This person gave it to you. Right? Okay? So they gave you the house, and you gave them the $1 million, so they still okay. Right? Because they had $1 million built up, $100,000 a year. But now you got all that negative, 9,000 negative, because you only get 100,000 a year, but you took 10 years all at once, up front. See? So think about it in this terms. You take Elijah Muhammad, for instance, right? It took him years and years and years of work to be fully qualified as being the messenger of Allah, to prove it. I mean, he had to do the works. He couldn't just say it. He had to do the works. So he builds it. Right? So he's building it. He uses all the energy to build it. See? He takes all the energy to build that. See? So now, because he's building a title, he's building a reputation, right? Because that title goes with that. That title means something. That title is worth something because he made it worth something. Because the work he put in, he made that title worth something. So you come along and say, "Oh, I'm the messenger of Allah. I'm the messenger. I'm the messenger." Well, then that's like you taking that house. You didn't build it, but you took it. So now you got all that negative energy that goes with that title. Elijah Muhammad, don't see that's where he put on. He already paid for it, but you didn't. So now you got all that energy to go with that. That's going to crush you. Because you walk around just saying, that's why you got to be careful going around talking about who you are and taking titles for yourself that you don't belong to you. And that's why we see Master Farrakhan or Minstrel Farrakhan, whatever, right? He calling himself Jesus and the Son of Man and the Anointed One, and we're being crushed by it. He can't even walk in a wheelchair. He's disemboweled because he's picking up towels that don't belong to him. They worth something. Those things you can't just say pick that up because somebody earned that. Because Suleiman, he said what Suleiman would have to do. He'd have to earn that towel to be that. He had to break the seals. He had to put all his energy in to do that. And so that towel's worth that is worth what he put energy in. But now you're gonna pick it up. You ain't done any of that. You haven't done any of it. But now you're picking it up. So you're taking the house, right? And now you take all the energy that goes with it. Now, but you haven't paid the price for it. So now it's crushing you. It's crushing you. It's going to kill you. Or it's going to disembowel you. It's going to destroy you. See, unless you can do the work that required, but still no. That means but you still got now you got to go do all that work. But you didn't do that. You just took the title. See, you didn't build a house. You just bought the house. See, do you understand? So I don't worry about these clouds all the time. Oh, I'm the seventh angel, because they don't even know what that means anyway. I mean, that person is a fool, because he don't know who the seventh angel is. The seventh angel is the devil. See. But he's taking these titles for himself. I'm the Son of Man. I'm the Anointed One. I'm the Jesus. Okay, fine. Go on with that. See? But you dropping that world on your shoulder. Because it says Suleiman, he would take and save his people from sin. And he would take and bring all the whole world under his control and then give it back to his father. So can you handle that? Can you carry the whole world? Because he put the work in to do it. So he put work to build that house. But you was going to buy it. So can you handle that? Can you put that world on your shoulder? Because that's what it says. It said what it said. It said the burden of the kingdom would be on his shoulders. The kingdom is the whole world. The burden of the kingdom would be on Suleiman's shoulders. See, because he said he put everything on submission and he gave it back to his father, Farad, Master Farad Muhammad. See, so that means he had to take and get the whole world, not just a state, not just a country like Arabia, like Prophet Muhammad did, or like Italy or whatever, like Jesus did, or Jerusalem, whatever. He had to do the whole world. In fact, the whole universe. But we just go with the world. So that's what he said. He'd have to lift the whole world. And so that's what he had to put the work in to do that. And so now you're going to claim to you him. So can you handle that? See, they don't know. They stupid. So this stuff is questionable. So fine. When he calls himself Son of Man, I sit back and laugh. Because I know he's crushed. That tower just crushed his ass. Hope you understand, bro. Sisters. I don't think I need to make it any simpler than that. See? Like I said, he didn't build a house. All you did was just buy it. The one that built it, they put energy in to build it. See? So now you're going to take it, and you don't know how to build anything. So I mean, now you owe, right? Because you ain't built it, so now you're taking something that's already built. And so now you're taking all the whole cost on your shoulders. Hope you understand the idea. Okay. So when you walk around claiming you're something that you're not, see, I put the work in to break those seals. If I was walking around until I broke the seals and I hadn't, you never heard Elijah Muhammad make that claim. I walked until I had. I'd probably be walking around disemboweled like Mr. Farrakhan. I mean, I'd probably be worse than that. But that's a heavy burden to say you broke those seals and you haven't. See, whether you had the proof or not, the fact is, if you make that statement, you better have the energy to do what it requires to do, right? You have to have the energy to do what it requires to do to have broken those seals. Because it looked like he was slain from the foundations of the earth. But the foundations, remember, that's the foundation. That's what's holding the earth up. That's the hidden meaning there. See? So can you hold up, can you carry the world on your shoulder, Mr. Farrakhan, in your wheelchair? Can you do that? Because that's what it takes. That said, it took the energy that it took to break the 7 seals, that same energy it took, right? To put the world on your shoulders. He was slain from the foundation of the earth. That's how heavy it was. In order to break those 7 seals. It means he had to work hard to get the energy, apply the energy to be able to be strong enough to do that. That shows he was the only one worthy. That means he had the strength to do it. He didn't just say he did it, he just had the strength to do it. See? That means he's worthy. That means he had to put the work in. So, he put the work in to lift 1,000 pounds, and you're going to walk in the gym with your 100-pound self, and you're going to lift 1,000 pounds? No, you can't do it. So they give you a spotter, right, and put it on your ass and then watch you crush your ass into the ground. Because you can't do it. But you're going to tell everybody, man, I can lift that 1,000 pounds. Okay. Lift it up and put it on them. And watch it crush them. You understand, brothers and sisters? Hope you do. So that's what it means by that signal. So right now, if you suffer energy deprivation, brothers and sisters, it's self-imposed. That's why they give me all these trinkets and stuff, right? Because if you live within, Acts of Christ says, right, out of what we have given you, right, a simple life, and don't be going out these trinkets and stuff, and just maintain yourself, you have no problems. But if you start going after these trinkets and all this kind of stuff they give you, hey man, here, you can have Master's daughter, you can have Master's son, you can have his Lamborghini, you can have his BMW, right? You can have his little mansion over here, you have all this stuff, right? Then you imposing self-deprivation on yourself. This is a time of frugality, actually. It's a time where we're walking a tightrope here. And it's unfortunate, brothers and sisters. I mean, I understand. Because you figure, hey man, I want to live my life and everything. And everybody does. But you have to understand the times. And right now, you're walking a tightrope. And you've been careful, you're going to fall off to your death. So right now is the time that we have to be frugal. Right? We have to lose our energy, focus energy on how to live, how to maintain ourselves. That will get us into the hereafter. Then we'll have all those things. Because we have enough energy to afford all those things. Then we can't afford them now. Because they're hurting you, they're burning you. That BMW is burning you. That Hummer is burning you. Right? See? That 10-bathroom mansion is burning you. It's not burning the demons. They're the distraction. They're the ones that are trying to convince you to go get those distractions, destroy you. Because they're in a different category than us. See, they're not suffering the energy deprivation that we're suffering. So if they can get you to buy that, they know you're going to walk you off that little tightrope that you're walking and knock you right off to your death. So at this time, you should be focusing all your energy on self-maintenance and trying to unite your people. That's how you need to focus your energy, because you travel into the future. That's time traveling. Invest your energy into yourself, into your nation, into your future. Don't be investing your energy into the false American dream. You know, I'm gonna have a Hummer. See, I'm gonna have a Lexus. See, I'm gonna have a BMW. See, I'm gonna have me a plane. See, I'm gonna have me a mansion. See, I'm gonna give me tickets to the AFL. They never all like BS. See, I'm gonna give me a diamond necklace. See, like Mr. Farrakhan, he loves the big jewelry, rings and stuff. He's a demon. I'm just telling you the truth to guide you through this, brothers, sisters. See, because you got a great reward waiting for you. This distraction, this world is nothing. You're going after this here, and it's destroying you. And they're trying to get you. They're trying to get you to blow your inheritance, blow your reward. See? So right now is the time you need to focus on not this world's life. It says if you go for this world's life, they'll give it to you. But it says therefore no portion for you in the hereafter. That's another way of telling you, brothers and sisters. Focus. What did Jesus say in the Bible? He says, leave all this crap behind, right? And follow me into the hereafter. He says, put all this stuff away. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. Because it's burning you. It's hot coals. I see it all around me. It's hot coals. Go out there, man. I knew there was one person out there, had to give him a Hummer. A young person too. Next thing you know, he had a stroke. See? Of course, he should have been using that energy to maintain himself. But he's out there vaping and all that kind of stuff. Distractions, brothers and sisters. See, we're there. We're at this finish line. Let's step over it. That's what the ancient messenger of the covenant here to tell you. That's what he to explain to you. That's our message. See? Invest your energy into your nation, into the future, into the hereafter. Don't invest your nature in this distraction, this false American dream, this false vision. Don't invest in it because it's a losing investment. You see it's crumbling, it's going down. They can't even make cars anymore because they can't have the chips, right? The chips are made in Taiwan, but they don't have the chips for us. So now they got cars sitting out there they made that's riding because they can't have the chips to run them, right? They're already at war. They're at war in the Middle East. It's going to blow up in a minute. It's going to turn boiling hot. They're in conflict with China and Russia. Both countries can destroy America. If they go to nuclear war, they go to war with each one of them. You think those are going to lay down? They got nuclear weapons. They're going to use them. And nuclear war, no one wins. No one wins that one. You think North Korea can't destroy America? You think they have to have as many nuclear weapons as America? Or they have to have a couple. They don't have to have a couple. That's why I said, worried about Iran getting one. You only have a couple. You may only need one if it's powerful enough. You have EMP, electromagnetic pulse. If you explode one over the top of America, right? Over the atmosphere in America, up a mile high, it would knock out all electronics in America. Your car won't run, your TV won't run, your computer won't run, nothing will run. That's called EMP, look it up. They ain't telling you the whole truth about anything. See? America is the most vulnerable country in the world in a nuclear war. North Korea, if they knock out the electronics from America, America's technically, it would be down for years. Most people would be dead. Electricity and everything else, no food, nothing would move. So even if they blow away North Korea, what good that going to do them? America just slowly died. Oh, well, we got North Korea. Okay, yeah, okay. We got him. See? He got you too. That's just North Korea. There's very few nuclear weapons. What about China? See? They don't have as many as America. They got more than enough to blow away America. More than enough. Forget about it. The EMP would just be a beginning. See? Then you got the radiation. If they actually hit, the MP would knock out the atmosphere. See? So they're giving you this stuff. They're fooling you. They're telling you lies about how this war would take place. This war will not act anything like it won't. Mass problem, how much going to stop from happening, but it won't be anything like they're telling you, because all we got to do is drop, like I said, one missile, one atomic explosion a mile high over the United States that knock out EMP the whole United States. All electronics, everything's running off electronics. So forget about actually hitting them with the bombs. See, one bomb in New York, we think would knock out millions of people. One drop in New York, one drop in L.A. What happened? You see what I'm saying? And that North Korea could do that by itself. And China could do it 1,000 times over. And Russia could do it 1,000,000 times over. They're telling you lies. They're telling you about these navies. You know how long the Navy will last? That's the biggest BS you ever. Even Elijah Muhammad said that. He says, they sink all their submarines. You know how long the Navy will last? Think about it. All they got to do is drop a small tactical nuclear weapon within a mile of any one of those destroyers, any one of those aircraft carriers, just within a mile of it. And it put tidal waves so big, it would just sink the damn thing. You don't have to hit it, just be close, within a mile. The Navy would be the first to go. Submarines all be sink, they all be the first to go. And then the whole thing is, you think that they got to shoot missiles all the way from Russia, 5 miles out of international waters. They don't tell you this. Do you know 5 miles out from the coast of the United States, Russia has submarines surrounding the whole United States. They've been doing it for the last 30 years. And they can't touch it because it's international waters. And they got submarines, and all the submarines have nuclear bombs, nuclear missiles. So they can launch them from right down to launch more from Russia. They tell, but they got 30-minute warning. You got no 30-minute warning. Oh, we can knock them out with our anti-missile batteries. That's bull. That's it telling you to keep you calm. Because they want you worried. Because they 5 miles out. At 5 miles out, if they shoot a missile 5 miles out, how long would it hit Los Angeles? How long would it take New York? How long hit the D.C.? It won't take no 15 minutes. It take virtually seconds. A couple of minutes at the most. You wouldn't even know what happened before they shot it, and before you hit you before you even know, before they could pick it up on the radio and figure out what they're going on, so they can have a thought process. They meant we've been on attack. They won't tell you that. I'll give you one example, and I'm gonna let you go, brothers and sisters. Back when Clinton was president, he made an agreement with Russia. And I'm sure how stupid this is. Go check it out if you don't want to take my word for it. Everything I say, you can prove it. Most of it just a Google search away. So he made an agreement with Russia. And everybody was so, oh man, so happy. Man, with peace. The agreement is that Russia would no longer target America with their nuclear silos. Not the one in the submarines now. That's the one on land, in Russian land. And America would no longer target Russia with their nuclear, on the one on land, not submarine and everything. So we just forget about submarines. Say it wasn't didn't submarines exist for the purpose of what we're talking about right here. So what that meant is that when in your silos, in the computers, they put the coordinate like GPS and say, okay, this missile is going to hit Moscow. This missile is going to hit Leningrad. See what I'm saying? This missile is going to hit whatever, right? See, so it's programmed in there. And so likewise, Russia has the same thing. Well, this missile is going to hit L.A. This missile is going to hit San Francisco. This missile hit New York, right? This is going to hit D.C. Okay, see. So that's the way it's set up. So the agreement is they was not going to target. So in other words, they weren't going to put that in the computer anymore. That was the agreement. So everybody, yeah. You know how long it take to put that back in the computer? Half a second. But see, that's the bullshit that they tell you, and it gets you. Everybody was excited. Oh man, they're not targeting us anymore. And everybody was excited. And they sold that. And people were just so happy. Oh man, they ain't targeting us anymore. All they got to do is put it right back in the computer again. It take a second to do it. Go check it out if you don't believe me. The world ain't what you think it is, brothers and sisters. It's what you think it is. They got you under some illusion, a delusion. The world is not what you think it is. They got false risen over there, right? Antichrist. The whole world is not what you think it is, brothers and sisters. See? The world is not what you think it is. At all. You live under a total illusion. And we're trying to break you out of it. You're in a belief matrix. The world is not what you think it is. You're in a dream. You're in a nightmare. You don't even know it. The world is not what you think it is. It's not even close. It's not even close. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Okay. Assalamu alaikum.